This is Paukwa Radio, home of pure freshness. For years now, we've managed to record and edit episodes with ease using either phone or computer. You wonder how? With Anchor by Spotify, we've managed to have our podcast distributed free of charge to over 10 hosting platforms inclusive of Spotify, Apple Podcast. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. You want to have fun as you monetize? Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Paukwa Radio, pure freshness.
Welcome to this piece dubbed Bodaboda Menace. So much has happened in the past weeks in Kenya. Where are you listening from before I give you this story? Leave your comment with us. We'll be glad, so glad, and very glad to read your comment in the next episode. We are so grateful for all of you that have been supporting us, listening to us, downloading our episodes. We really want you to continue supporting us. And how can you do this? You can do this by sending your contributions to us to help build the platform for a wider audience. Just click the support button. Choose whether to support us by sending $1, $5, or even $10. It can be a different denomination and currencies. Key in the right details and you'll be in. My name is Otieno Mjomba. And this is Bakora La Paukwa. It is utter shock and disbelief if the video captured of a Bodaboda rider assaulting a female rider along Wangari Maathai Road, formerly known as Forest Road, is anything to go by. This is wrong, as has been condemned by the public. Where are our moral fabrics? Before delving deep into this horrendous act, I want first to dispel the gender role that has started going rounds. Yes, this is not a matter of gender by any chance. We have seen male motorists attacked and injured by this gang of predators. Properties have been lost, vehicles burnt, and to some cases, lives lost. This is a crime at its highest level. The second issue to dispel is that all Bodaboda riders are hooligans. I can attest that we have some very professional riders in the country that have joined the nation in condemning this heinous act meted out on a female motorist. For example, Bodaboda Safety Association of Kenya sent a statement on Twitter saying that some hooligans in the pretense of Bodaboda operators assaulted unidentified persons and promised to commence investigation and cooperate with the investigative authorities. I want to recognize the likes of Stanley Abednego in Umoja, Boniface, a rider in Syokimau, and Mutuku, a Bodaboda rider from Lukenya, who are working hard to make the Bodaboda industry a trustable partner. However, the million-dollar question is, are Bodaboda operators above the law in Kenya? Go to the major towns and check on the major streets. They are waiting with bated breath, often so on the wrong side of the road. I know that you have been carried by one in whom you regretted your decision. Maybe you know a friend who lost their lives due to Bodaboda riders' recklessness. It is, however, important to note that Bodaboda motorcycle transport is a major part of Kenyan economy and a source of employment and livelihood for many, including thousands of unemployed youths. Despite the many benefits, Bodaboda in Kenya is evolving into a potentially negative force that could get out of control with serious repercussions for the country if not well managed and regulated. The sector operates without proper regulation and control. Globally, it is estimated that there are over 200 million motorcycles in operations, or about 33 motorcycles per 1,000 people. The explosion of bodaboda in public transport in the country has taken a similar trajectory to the matatu industry that operated illegally and thrived on the lawlessness when they were first introduced in Kenya in the 1960s, 1970s. The risk of bodabodas is attributed to, among other factors, the inability of the transport system to cater to the transport needs of Kenyans, poor transport infrastructure, the 2008 government policy zero rating motorcycles below 250cc, leading to a drop in motorcycle prices, and widespread youth unemployment that pushed youths to enhance and to embrace bodaboda as a source of employment. The National Transport and Safety Authority (NTSA) reported that there were 1,393,390 motorcycles registered in Kenya as of February 2018. However, the exact number today of these motorcycles operating as bodabodas in the country are not known and documented. The lacuna in policy regarding the registration, regulation, monitoring, and use of motorcycles in bodaboda public service vehicles transport is a cause for alarm. Whereas bodaboda motorcycle transport, as they are expanded across urban and rural areas, there are worrying concerns as the subsector has been associated with increasing crimes, traffic accidents, and impunity in the country. Despite the numerous benefits, bodabodas are increasingly becoming part of a new wave of street crime in urban and rural areas. Bodabodas and traffic accident-related deaths and injuries have become a major public health epidemics in Kenya. Deaths from bodaboda-related accidents have negative impact on the country and its economy. This, in addition to the serious and debilitating injuries suffered, the huge medical bills and financial costs to the riders, pillion passengers, pedestrians, and other motorists involved in such accidents. There is inherent policy oversight in bodaboda debacle. This policy led to a significant decrease in motorcycle prices, with the net effect of the explosion of motorcycles into economy without anticipating and having in place an attendant counter-policy framework regarding their registration, regulation, monitoring, and designation as public service vehicles. Bodabodas have evolved as unregulated informal entities in the transport industry in Kenya. They are not legally recognized as public service vehicles but offer this crucial service that has critical implications for the public safety. Consequently, Kenya does not have a database of all motorcycles that operates as bodabodas. The subsector is therefore not effectively policed, regulated, and monitored. This is partly the reason for the wanton recklessness, impunity, violence, and siege mentally of bodaboda operators. When the bodaboda industry is dominated by a fairly youthful population of men who are not professionally trained, less educated, and of lower socioeconomic standing, operating in a context of weak registration, policing, regulation, and oversight, the end result is a crime, impunity, deaths, and injuries with grave implications for public safety. There is also a lacuna in the legal framework under which bodabodas operate in public transport as public service vehicles. Kenya does not have a policy framework in place to register Bodabodas as PSV, equivalent to what the Transport Licensing Board, also known as TLB, does with the registration and designation of private vehicles or matatus. Moreover, Transport Licensing Board has a mandatory provision that matatus have to be registered with a company or savings and credit cooperative organizations to operate in Kenya. For Bodabodas, it is on the acquisition of a PSV motorcycle insurance cover that many don't have. They undertake commercial public transport services. Whereas the Traffic Act, Cap 432, endeavors to regulate Bodabodas' operations on the roads, it does not align with the fact that regulation presupposes registrations, a clear disconnect between registration and regulatory regimes in the Bodaboda subsector. The Traffic Act is trying to regulate, but at the same time ignoring the fact that you cannot effectively regulate that which is not enabled through a legal framework. Bodabodas are not registered as PSVs under law, but undertake PSV responsibilities in the country. Bodabodas are increasingly becoming entrenched in Kenya along matatu industry trajectory that operated illegally and thrived on lawlessness. Therefore, the informal, unregulated nature and the weak governance framework for the Bodaboda subsector provides powerful incentives for risk-taking behaviors, recklessness, and impunity among operators with greater risks to the public. Addressing major challenges in the Bodaboda motorcycle transport are essential in ensuring a secure, orderly, and reliable part of public transport in Kenya. Therefore, it is prudent that the government must work harder to establish a database of all Bodaboda operators in Kenya through mandatory registration, refresher training, testing, regulation, and effective oversight of Bodaboda subsector. The government must also address government policy oversight by facilitating a shift of the Bodaboda industry from the current informal sector to the formal economy, specifically the effect of the 2008 government policy to zero-rate motorcycles of up to 250cc that resulted in the explosion of motorcycles in Kenya without clear oversight and foresight to put in place a counter-policy framework on motorcycle registration, regulation, monitoring, and designation as public service vehicles. The government must also subsidize the cost of motorcycle riders' training that is considered costly by many riders and jobless youths who dominate the trade and establish motorcycle-specific riding or driving schools across the country. It is high time that the Bodaboda motorcycle riders acquire requisite motorcycle rider training, licenses, and safety gear before venturing on the roads, collaborate with security agencies in reporting crimes, violations, and ensuring strict compliance with traffic rules and regulations while on the roads. The public at large must effectively implement the National Transport and Safety Authority (NTSA) regulations, operation of motorcycle of 2014, in addition to strict enforcement of traffic laws and regulations to Bodaboda industry that operates with wanton impunity. It is high time that the government must undertake concerted sensitization and awareness education to Bodaboda operators and the general public towards road safety and crime-free Bodaboda subsector in Kenya, in addition to addressing unemployment and poverty, especially for young people who dominate the Bodaboda industry, as this is the major root cause of Bodaboda-related crimes. The National Police, on the other hand, and other security agencies should undertake intelligence-led policing in gathering information and profiling criminals within the trade or those masquerading as Bodaboda operators to commit crimes. In addition, these agencies and NTSA should carry out compliance and inspection crackdowns on riders who violate traffic rules, and partner with other agencies in undertaking civic education and public awareness campaigns on road safety and crime prevention to Bodaboda operators. Passengers and members of the general public take precautions when patronizing Bodabodas given the various levels of crimes and accident risks. They must ensure, therefore, that they use safety headgear, helmets, and reflector jackets when patronizing Bodabodas. They should also collaborate with law enforcement agencies in reporting crimes and other violations by Bodaboda operators. Finally, I hope that the county governments are busy formulating relevant bylaws and policies to sustainably govern and regulate operations of Bodaboda sector in their counties rather than adopting the penal approach of arrest and enforcing bans on Bodaboda operations. One way that this can be included includes dealing with designating zones of operation for Bodabodas. I want to thank the National Crime Research Center, on whose report Bodaboda motorcycle transport and security challenges in Kenya we have based our arguments. The report is out for the public consumption, but as always in Kenya, our reactive nature will always take the forefront. Thank you for listening. My name is Otieno Mujomba. Ride safe, stay safe. See you soon.
Advertise with us for as low as $1 or 200 Kenya shillings and reach a wider online audience. Interested? Call, text or WhatsApp us on +254 0729946147 or email at pauquaradio@gmail.com. You can also engage us on Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Anchor, SoundCloud, Spreaker and many more social media platforms as Pauqua Radio. Pauqua Radio. Pure freshness.